Welcome to today's episode of the SADF podcast. I'm your host, Taposh Kanti Ball. Our focus today is the Indo-Pacific's shifting economic and geopolitical currents, especially the evolving triangular relationship between the European Union, India, and ASEAN, and what this means for connectivity, supply chains, and regional stability. I am joined by Rizwan Khan, PhD scholar in history education at the Indonesian Education University in Bandung, whose research explores India, Indonesia, maritime linkages, and contemporary European Union, India, ASEAN dynamics within the Indo-Pacific framework. India's relationship with ASEAN has transformed over 3 decades from a sectoral dialogue partnership in 1992 to full dialogue partner in 1995 to a strategic partnership in 2012, and most recently, a comprehensive strategic partnership or CSP in 2022 that now anchors wide ranging cooperation in trade, maritime security, education, culture, and regional integration. ASEAN itself flags substantial progress under the plans of action and underscores India's consistent support for ASEAN centrality to the Indo-Pacific region. As Professor Chintamani Mahapatra argues, deepening ASEAN-India engagement is increasingly tied to sustaining peace, stability, and a rules-based order across the broader Indo-Pacific region. Against this backdrop, the European Union-India trade track has accelerated. After negotiations resumed in 2022, Brussels and New Delhi announced the conclusion of a landmark European Union-India Free Trade Agreement on 27th of January 2026, signaling a step change in market access, supply chain diversification, and regulatory cooperation. Commentary since then has framed it as a strategic pivot in European Union trade policy vis-à-vis Asia. Even before conclusion, both sides had signaled end game momentum through late 2025 statements and negotiating rounds in New Delhi and Brussels. So, welcome, Mr. Rizwan. So, first question that I have to you, that how do you define European Union and ASEAN and India's relationship? First of all, what do you perceive the relationship between ASEAN countries and India? And then probably you can highlight that does that mean for this European Union Free Trade Agreement?
Thank you very much for providing me such a wonderful platform with this podcast in which I will speak about the India and ASEAN relationship. So first of all, in this, I would like to say India and India and ASEAN countries, they have a relationship from the historical and cultural perspective. First of all, like and India's policy of 1992 by Lucas policy, which in the later stage it will like active policy. So but for historically, I would like to say that historically and culturally India and ASEAN has a good relationship through the education, like many scholars from ASEAN, they came to visit India just for knowledge or something in the Buddhist time. So Nalanda, that is also in revived this times, like from ancient time. This is a good relationship, and culturally also. If once I came to Indonesia, especially, uh, I I recognize that the culture has a very good effect. Lots of temples in Indonesia. Even I went to the Malaysia last year. I saw that there is a like many here it is say like Chandi. Chandi means temple. Temple is there, so it shows we have a very good connections from ancient times culturally and this one. And also in this present time scenario, we have a very good relation with ASEAN about the economic perspective, political and cultural ties. We have a very good relation in that.
Okay, so given this cultural and economical relationship, tight relationship that what you said between India and ASEAN countries. Now, how do you see from the angle of supply chain management and other perspectives of economical relationship between this India and ASEAN countries after this European Union negotiation with India on a possible free trade agreement? How do you think that this relationship is going to be redefined?
Yes, I hope so, and I believe in that. That after this EU-India free trade agreement, which has been, which has been in January last month, it is how to say, not ratified, but already under process. It will take time. So it is about the free trade agreement between European Union and the India, and also it is a very good impact because European Union has expanded their economic free trade agreement also with the ASEAN. Many ASEAN countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, and all those countries have a very good investment there. And the best thing is that EU has a regulatory norms. They have defined what kind of norms they want, because they do not compromise on that. So EU, the first characteristics is that for the in terms of the economic partnership, we can say. And the second one is that India is a big market for everyone. So that's why in a global geopolitics, you can see like many countries from very earlier time, they have a very serious on that India has a big market for them. And also for India, we have a very skilled labor which is required for everywhere. So if we have talking about a relationship between India, EU, and ASEAN, so they have interconnected to each other. If I'm talking about EU, sorry, ASEAN. So ASEAN right now, they have the emerging economy. They have a good market, and they have the manufacturing hub. So logistic and manufacturing they are providing, and many European companies and Indian companies also. Many Indian companies are located for the manufacturing in Indonesia and such kind of countries. So. Yeah, from the economic side, through the trade and investment, manufacturing, and especially I would like to highlight here one more thing, that is maritime. This is also very interesting, and since ancient time, because once I have read about this, there are lots of things on the maritime security and the maritime, because through the maritime culture, culture comes, the religion comes. And the main thing is that in ancient time they have come here in India also, and in Indonesia also, and the Thailand and all those ASEAN nations, just to spread the religion. The first one is the trade, and then after that, the religion and something is coming out. So right now, this is very important for the EU, ASEAN, and India's perspective. Like we have very much through many trade and agreement. We have also FTA with the ASEAN nations. So I think this is a very good, and this provides a very healthy and healthy relationship between all these countries, especially for the three frontiers like EU, ASEAN, and India.
So we were talking before between ourselves before recording that China has a good relationship with ASEAN countries, whereas China is a
Absolutely.
competitor to India in the world economy. And China and India, they have border tension as well between themselves. So, with this perspective in mind, and taking into mind the China's BRI, I mean Belt and Road Initiative, what do you think that whether China is going to be a challenge for the relationship between ASEAN and India in the coming days?
Absolutely. This is the Belt and Road Initiative, what you highlighted here. This is a very important, and for India's perspective, like this is a matter of sovereignty. So, if I'm talking about the relationship, firstly, I would like to define something like the China is from 2013. It has been creating the Belt and Road Initiative through the African nations, and also the main thing is for our concerns about the India, like it is passing through. It is also called Belt and Road Initiative and Silk Road. You can say in ancient India it is called the Silk Road. That is a very strategic and very important things for our sovereignty and for the trade and everything, right? So for if I'm talking about the concern, like for India, it's a sovereignty issue because it is passing through the Pakistan, and it is passing through the Kashmir, which is the disputed areas between the India and Pakistan. So India never be compromised on that. So that's why, but if I'm talking about the relationship with the China, relationship for the nation interest in the geopolitics, it is never denied that we are very much dependent in our goods, like, which is imported by the China and exported by the China to India. Many countries, not even India, many countries are dependent on the China for the raw materials, for the manufacturing things. So I would like to say, for the nation interest, we have to keep in mind for the Belt and Road Initiative, and through the strategic dialogue, through our, dialogue between the two countries at the ministerial level, at the government level. So we have to very much, very much focused that how we will go ahead with this. And also we have seen ASEAN also have very close to the China, because there are lots of investment in the ASEAN countries from the China. And the China, because I have we can see here, for the growth, we are especially the ASEAN countries, they need the amount or the, support from the China. So they have their own policy also for growing the nations and providing the job and putting the manufacturing industries there. So because China has a economic condition is very strong, so he is investing everywhere. He is also investing in India also. It is investing in India also. So but apart from this, for our own development, for our good relation with the ASEAN and the China also, in terms of how to say, like a business perspective, or strengthen our economy, we have to focus, and we have to very clearly, keeping in the mind, without compromising our sovereignty, we will have to go ahead and keep this relationship in a healthier way. Every time the talks between these countries are holding from time to time from the Indian government side, and also we are playing in the ASEAN nation the soft diploma. So in this regard, I think keeping our own interest, national interest in our mind, we have to keep this relationship in a healthier way.
Right. I have some data in front of me which says that India maintains 10% of its GDP income from ASEAN for last couple of years in an aggregate
Right.
basis. 10% of its GDP is coming from ASEAN countries. But in spite of that, there is a trade gap between the two countries. ASEAN countries are importing more, whereas India is exporting less. So, what do the Indian policymakers should do to reduce this trade gap? What do you think?
See, you are right. We are importing more from ASEAN and exporting less. But in this regard, as per the policy, and we have to, our big companies like Indian companies, they are right now investing more in ASEAN in from the last couple of years. But there is a problem also, from the local perspective, local bureaucracy in ASEAN. And the one more thing here I would like to point it out, especially in terms of Indonesia. Indonesia is a very rich in nickel, right, which is imported in electronic batteries. So their own policy is that they are downstreaming, which means they are not allowing to export too much nickel or other minerals, which is very important in manufacturing the electronic items. So they have their own policy to reduce, and they wanted to more industrialize in their on themselves for Indonesia. So but keeping in this mind, we are pushing, like many Indian companies, they already opened in Indonesia, in Malaysia, and Myanmar. They have their own companies for manufacturing. But we have to keep more focus, and through the diplomacy, through the soft diplomacy, and through the talks, we have to push, and we will take the confidence to whatever the goods which is demanded in Asian countries. Suppose that I'm giving you the example, spices. That is very important thing. Whenever I'm going to the local market here, especially for the when I eat in the restaurant or everywhere. So they are telling me like we wanted the good spices from the India. There are lots of things available here, but the speciality from the India they need in the spices. So in this way, like we have to figure it out, and we have to export from the India. And the second one thing is that in ASEAN there is a very good they have a demand from the Indian side the good cotton. So in this way, whatever the hurdle is coming, like see, they are right now shifting the clothes store or manufacturing the cloth, and for this they need the cotton. So they are importing from the other countries, maybe another countries, but if we have to focus on our quality and also reducing the tariff which is going on from the government to government. So in this way, we have to figure it out what kind of the best thing we have through which the Indonesian market or the ASEAN market they need for manufacturing as a raw material. So in this way, like we have to shift, and I hope that it will be increased in upcoming days through the diplomacy.
Right. So we have reached to the very end of the podcast. So the last question that I want to ask is about, recently US has reduced its taxes against Indian business, Indian exports in the USA. Do you think that this will imbalance the relationship of ASEAN and India trade? Mhm.
Can you repeat once again, sir, this question?
Yes. The question is that we all know that the USA has reduced the tariff.
Yeah,
Whether this means that India probably will be doing more business with USA now. So
yeah.
will that imbalance the trade relationship between ASEAN and India? Which means that India will be doing more business with USA, and that means that the policy focus will shift from ASEAN to USA, and that will cause trade deficit between ASEAN and India. Do you think in the same way? That's the question.
Yeah. I think this is the reality that US has reduced the tariff, and in this way we are a little bit shifted towards USA. But it doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't much more than impact for ASEAN relation, because if we are also through the FTA we are reducing the we will reduce more tariff and providing the good quality here from our raw material from the whatever we are manufacturing, and also we are providing our digital the another thing, because they see the US market is different. The Southeast Asian countries have a different market, right? So
Right.
see, they need Southeast Asian countries, they need the manufacturing hub from the good companies, and also they need because here they are lagging the skilled force, and in this way we have a win-win situation, because in India we have a very skilled workforce and very talented in terms of technology. So they need such kind of technology which is cheaper in all over the world. Even the US they have a lots of
More than
like
it's
IT
it's
companies
cheaper
in
than
India.
US market even.
Yeah, exactly, sir. So in this way, I think the areas which is very significant, which is very powerful, and they need here in Indonesia or ASEAN countries. So in this regard, whatever they need, we have to shift it towards there. And through the dialogue and through the reducing FTA, I think we have to balance this stress. There will be nothing harm on India's economic policy or something.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That brings us to the end
Thank
of
you.
today's conversation. My sincere thanks to Rizwan Khan for joining us and for offering such grounded, nuanced perspectives from both academic research and lived experience in Indonesia. As we heard today, the Indo-Pacific is being rewired. As we heard today, the Indo-Pacific is being rewired through new forms of connectivity with the European Union, India, and ASEAN increasingly shaping one another's economic futures. These shifts bring enormous opportunities, from diversified supply chains to new avenues of cooperation in technology, sustainability, and education. Mr. Rizwan also highlighted that the recent trade reduction by USA or tax reduction by USA, or we can say tariff reduction of USA in business with India, will not affect the market of ASEAN because their markets are different. But they also bring new regulatory tensions and development dilemmas, particularly visible in Southeast Asia's rapidly evolving industries. Understanding these layers, the strategic, the economic, and the local, is essential for anyone wishing to grasp the region's future. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, stay tuned for our upcoming discussions on South Asia, democracy, peace building, and minority rights. Until next time, this is Taposh Kantibol signing off.